Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to my overview of my experience with Last Epoch. I have about 100 hours into the game, and so that means is I've played all 5 classes through the campaign and a little bit of Endgame. 4 of the 5 classes, to include Primalist Druid, which you're watching right now, was pre 1.0 release, 0.92 beta. You can see that top left hand corner if you're paying attention to that sort of thing. So that's the last sort of beta release before 1.0 popped out. Now, Primalist is the class, and then there are 3 masteries: Druid, Beastmaster, and Shaman. I've not played Beastmaster or Shaman, and I'm probably not going to. This is the first time I've ever played any sort of Druid-like character, and not really my playstyle. These tend to be sort of a tankier character, I guess, and I don't know, it's a little slow for my taste. I do want to go back and change some things. I had someone give me some pointers on how to make this a little bit better, but we'll keep going. I'm going to learn the game, and we're going to keep trying new things. I've enjoyed it so far. Yeah, so I went to a Thunder Bear here. So, if you want a little perspective on how I play games, I am what you would call casual Andy, I believe is the term these days. I am a married man, father of 3, so most of the time I'm playing games when everyone is asleep. I do play while they're here, but most of the time after work, try to read, try to spend time with my kids if they're not playing games or napping. But yeah, so that's sort of, I just squeeze in quite a bit of time on the weekends to play. And so I'm not a super hardcore player. Never going to play hardcore in this game. I don't feel like spending the time just to have a character die. That does not appeal to me whatsoever. Maybe I'll try it once or twice just as a challenge to myself, but I like playing these games casually and seeing kind of the different builds I can do. If that gets boring and I got thousands of hours in this game, I might go do some hardcore. I don't know, but it won't be anytime soon. Just like in Path of Exile, just putting all that effort into a character to have it die is infuriating just to think about. I think I would end up turning into my 9-year-old son and smashing my keyboard. But here, this is kind of in order of my least likely to play again to favorites. We're going to showcase a little bit of all these classes today so you can have a look. If you wonder why there's no sound and we've kind of got this ambiance type music in the backgrounds, because I pulled these off of videos I've already made. So if you want to go check those out, go to the channel and you can listen to me do a little bit of narration on the classes more specifically. This here is Mage. I played a Sorcerer, but there's also Rune Tracer and Spellblade. I'll probably try Spellblade. I kind of like that mix of magic and melee, so I'll probably give that a go. It probably is more my speed here. I had someone make a wonderfully negative comment about how trash my mage was. That's okay. That's quite alright. I had quite a bit of fun with this one. I stated before, and it might just be how I'm playing it, but I felt like this was Gale in Baldur's Gate 3, where it's kind of slow to start, pretty squishy, and then later in the game it gets pretty strong. Yeah, and I think when people are commenting about how it doesn't look fun, I mean, it's kind of in the eye of the beholder, right? Like, everyone's going to have a different play style. That's why these games have different classes. They have different masteries, so you kind of try and see what fits you. And everyone's going to build things differently, right? So sort of, I wouldn't say endless possibilities, but there are a lot of ways to go about building these characters. I mean, the sorcerer, you can focus on certain elements. You get certain abilities and spells within sorcery. So on top of all the classes, you got 5 classes, you've got 15 masteries, and then sort of, probably a few hundred different ways to play each one of those masteries, really, with the skills that you're going to specialize in. So there's a lot of replayability just in how you want to build the character. As far as endgame content goes, I've been having fun. I don't bore as easily as some other people that are probably, playing this full time. It's the only game they're playing. They probably get through the end game content fairly quickly. I'm just sort of kind of perusing through it and trying stuff out, kind of grinding out the levels, taking my time, messing with stuff. I will say that the leveling through the campaign, I said on average depending on the character, between 58 and 62 by the end of the campaign. And I've really only played Falconer any sort of depth through the end game. You saw a little bit of it with the druid, but I haven't played any end game with mage, sentinel, or acolyte. But I'm gonna, since the 1.0 release, I am gonna go back through, and I'm definitely doing acolyte and void knight, or sentinel rather. Back through again after I'm done with as far as I can get with the Falconer. And so mage is fun, but they got to do Spellblade next. Sorcerer's okay, it's straight caster. I kind of like those hybrid things. This one's a little more easy to focus things on. I had an elemental thing going on here, but it's whatever. Next, we're gonna go ahead and check out Acolyte. Acolyte was the first class I played, and the mastery class I chose was Necromancer. The other option I had at the time of the beta was Lich, and that's a pretty cool one, but I didn't play that one. But when I do go back and play, I'm probably gonna try out Warlock, because that was the new one that came out on 1.0 release, and I've seen some pretty cool builds on that one. This one's a ton of fun. So this is number 3 that you've seen so far. Really enjoyed this one. This was my squishiest character. Died quite a bit with this one, and a lot of that's my fault. First playthrough, didn't really let the minions do their thing, but this one was a ton of fun. I like minion builds. Never quite build them right, but they are a ton of fun. Yeah, see, I think this is the only one you're gonna see me die in. So obviously we got a lot of necrotic damage for this one, and there is some fire damage as well. The mage was a fire and ice thing. The druid was a lot of lightning. We got wraiths, golems, and skeletons. I'd say the best thing about a minion build is you can run away from the fight. So because you're so squishy, you have I think you clear the mobs a lot faster. I'd say this was the fastest build to clear mobs. When you're by yourself, it's slower. And I'm just not building things quick enough. Like, feel like movement speed would be a lot quicker. The pace of this game, let's do some comparisons. We're gonna jump around here a little bit, but the pace of this game, right? So I would not say that it's kind of slower overall than Path of Exile, because Path of Exile can quickly get pretty crazy. But the pacing early on in the game and this is easier to swallow. Like every level up feels significant in the campaign, and it kind of is slower to build up over time, and it doesn't quite have that like hockey stick of difficulty rising up with it like Path of Exile does. But there's certainly more playable, more viable builds in this game than Diablo. I'm not gonna lie, when Diablo 4 came out, I was super excited. I definitely played it quite a bit. I played through the whole campaign, and then the season released, and I was out. Immediately haven't gone back. And that's kind of how it's been for Blizzard games. I know tons of people are going to talk about this, comparing this to Path of Exile and Diablo. And my honest opinion is that it finds itself squarely in the middle. It's not so casual that you'll be bored by it, but it's not so complex as Path of Exile to kind of scare you away when you see the skill tree. Very accessible. The respec options in this game, I think, are probably one of the more appealing parts to it. The crafting is very simple to understand. If you want to take things off of your items and add certain resistances to them to get through a certain area you're having a hard time with, you can do that and make those adjustments, and it's fairly easy to do. Unlike Path of Exile, where I have 4 times the amount of hours, and I still struggle to understand the crafting in that game. I'm probably going to need 10 times the amount of time I have in that game to understand the nuances of the crafting, and even then I don't think it'll happen, just because there's just such a gap of time and complicated systems in Path of Exile that I just can't, I'm not going to be able to overcome. So, Diablo 4, you don't need build guides. This, you don't need build guides. There are some out there if you kind of want to do the min-max thing. I don't think that's really necessary here. Path of Exile is, path of spreadsheets. It's a level of nerd that if you want to really dedicate yourself, like if you like EVE Online, you like that whole spreadsheet game, Path of Exile is right up your alley too. It's not a bad thing. It's definitely not a bad thing. It's just there's a steep curve to that game. And this one, there isn't that. And to be fair to Last Epoch and Last Epoch Gaming, game has only been out for a few weeks. Obviously it's been in early access for a while, and they've had time to work on it, but it still doesn't have the same amount of time that Path of Exile's been around, and it definitely doesn't have the legacy of Diablo behind it. But I think there's definitely something special here. I hope that the 11th Hour Gaming guys keep the press. It had a rocky launch. I kind of expected that. You have a more forgiving, outlook on smaller devs pushing out a game and not being ready for the influx of players, sort of craving this type of game, this level of game. And it's a good problem to have. It got kind of rough reviews on Steam, but I think over time they've managed to pretty much fix all of their server capacity issues, whatever it was. I'm not entirely sure. But I haven't had any problems, for last week. That first like 3 days was pretty rough. But if you're a gamer, you've got other games you can play. And if you're, mad about it, I don't know what to tell you. Get over it. Oh, this is Void Knight. I haven't talked anything about the Void Knight. This is my favorite. One of my favorite melee characters. I'm definitely gonna be playing this build again. Hopefully I can find my purple sword. I just stack on void damage. This one was a blast. This is my Mace Windu build. And then finally we're gonna get into Falconer. There's sound on this one because I've not done any voiceover stuff for this content. So you get a little bit of the action on this one. I know you're enjoying the music, but just check this one out. So this is all Endgame stuff. Was it Monolith of Fate? This is like there's like different rounds. It was funny because I was trying to figure out how to stabilize the timeline, not realizing that there were quests I needed to complete. I was just going through doing all the little areas and nodes or whatever, not realizing that in order to get to the next one, I had to do the quests and beat the boss. So, not real dumb, but I'm learning. I think we did the Prophecies of Fortune or whatever. We didn't do the guild, so it's sort of like that solo self-found thing. So I don't really want to trade. I don't really like trading in Path of Exile, but so I don't even want to bother with it here. So basically, the Fortunes of Prophecy or whatever it's called, one of the two trading systems, kind of like a solo self-found thing. Kill bad guys, you get currency for it, and then you can unlock basically buffs for drops, and then you can buy stuff in the marketplace or whatever with that currency as well. Oh, sorry. A little bit of harsh throat. Hey, do this stuff unscripted, so trying to speak intelligently to something I'm playing without being too boring. So this is my first like real boss that I played in the endgame, and I tell you, I spent like the first minute just thinking that I couldn't do any damage to this guy, not paying attention to these things that like were very clearly indicated at the beginning. So I kept attacking the bad guy, and then I almost died, and then realized, oh, these things. And then, of course, I didn't pay attention to the big green aura on the ground, and that killed me a few times. So that was fun. As you can see, I've got the falcons flying all over the place. Got the shadow falcons, so I got multiple falcons going on. I'll work on that. There's definitely more I can do there, because see, you got two there. Got umbral blades, fury, Falcon Strike, and the poison vials, and then I think it's aerial strike, that blue one. It's the one that moves you. There's an option to do that so it doesn't move you. I'm not sure why you do that, because I feel like as a rogue you need some sort of traversal skill, so I sort of use that as my traversal skill. I think it's considered one. But yeah, so you destroy the 4 vials, and then your arena gets smaller, and then you gotta do this guy. I just ran around circles for a while. But yeah, I definitely gonna work on up in my DPS. I think on my umbral blades I'm at like 22,000 or something. I don't think that's a lot. I've seen people like build guys with like do 9 million damage. I'm like, oh man, they're already at those Path of Exile levels of damage. I'm only like level 60 something, so I'm not sure if they're like level 100 or what, or 80, I'm not sure. But I've been playing some other games, getting a lot of Helldivers too, so, you know, I gotta spread my time around. No, I haven't been like going full hardcore into this. I do enjoy it quite a bit though, so I think I'm gonna go until I'm just dying so many times I can't stand it. Then I'm gonna move on to trying something else. I'm definitely, I think I'm gonna go back and do either Warlock or go back to do Void Knight and give those a shot. Maybe even Mage Spellblade, but those are the ones I'm gonna go back to. That's Last Epoch, guys. I've been enjoying it. Great game, lots of potential. If you haven't picked it up, highly recommend it over, you know, any other ARPG you can pick up the time. Take care.